When you enter an amusement park, you are stepping into engineered illusion. Music layered over machinery, laughter layered over physics, bright paint covering steel structures that weigh more than houses. You don't see the maintenance reports. You don't see the override switches. You don't see the small decisions made behind closed doors. You see motion. You see smiles. You see safety. Until the day safety fractures. These are real incidents, real parks, real days when something small shifted and trust collapsed. Six Flags, Great Adventure, The Maze That Burned, July 11th, 1984. At Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey, a walk-through attraction called The Haunted Castle operated like any other summer afternoon. Dark corridors, foam-lined walls, artificial fog, disorientation by design. 8 teenagers entered together, relaxed, laughing. Inside, a small flame ignited. Investigators later believed it may have been caused by a lighter. The polyurethane foam lining the walls caught quickly. Thick smoke filled the corridors within minutes. There were no sprinklers, no fire alarms, no emergency lighting. Witnesses outside said silhouettes inside the smoke appeared calm at first, because when fear is expected, real danger is delayed in the mind. By the time panic replaced confusion, visibility was gone. The maze became a trap. 8 teenagers died inside that attraction. The park had opened normally that morning, inspections complete, guests pouring in. Everything looked ordinary, until it wasn't. Battersea Park, the derailment. Battersea Park. Inside London's Battersea Park stood a wooden roller coaster called the Big Dipper. Wooden coasters feel different. They creak, they rattle, they feel alive beneath you. That afternoon, as the train descended into a curve, the rear car detached. It derailed. It struck supporting structure. 2 children were killed, multiple others injured. Investigators later discovered corrosion and poorly maintained components. Nothing dramatic, no explosive collapse, just gradual weakening. Metal and wood don't fail suddenly. They deteriorate quietly, inspection by inspection, bolt by bolt. Families had ridden it earlier that day. No visible warning, no sign the structure was close to giving way. Alton Towers, the collision. Alton Towers. At Alton Towers in the UK, a steel coaster with 14 inversions operated under the slogan, "Submit to the system." Earlier that day, an empty test carriage stalled on the track. Staff believed it had been cleared manually. It hadn't. A breakdown in communication allowed the control system to register the section as empty. A fully loaded train carrying 16 passengers was dispatched. They climbed the lift hill. They laughed. They trusted the safeguards. Around a blind curve sat the stalled carriage. There was no time to brake. The collision crushed the front rows. 2 young riders later required leg amputations. The ride had been declared operational minutes before impact. Automation feels infallible until a human misjudges. Dreamworld, the Rapids. Dreamworld, October 25th, 2016. At Dreamworld on Australia's Gold Coast, the Thunder River Rapids ride had operated for decades. Families trusted it. Children rode it. It felt gentle, predictable. That afternoon, a water pump malfunctioned. One raft stalled on the conveyor lift. Another drifted forward. Sensors designed to detect abnormal movement did not trigger. The second raft was forced upward. It collided. It flipped. 4 adults died. Not from extreme speed, but from a sequence, a chain of small failures aligning perfectly. Mechanical disasters assemble themselves, quietly. Action Park, the Loop. Action Park. During the 1980s, Action Park in New Jersey became infamous for aggressive, experimental attractions. One of them was the Cannonball Loop, a near-vertical water slide with a full loop. Test dummies reportedly came out damaged. Some early riders exited with injuries. Still, it opened. Inside the enclosed tube, riders described darkness, sudden inversion, hard impact at the bottom. The physics required precision. Human bodies rarely provided. Eventually, the attraction was shut down, not because of a single dramatic collapse, but because injuries accumulated. Sometimes danger is visible and still allowed. Gulliver's Kingdom, the Gap. At Gulliver's Kingdom in England, a small family coaster stalled mid-track. Evacuations were routine. Staff assisted riders onto a narrow platform beside the train. Between the carriage and platform, a small gap. An 11-year-old girl slipped into that space. She fell nearly 30 feet. The ride had not derailed. It had simply stopped. We expect danger in motion, not during rescue. Kentucky Kingdom, the Drop. At Kentucky Kingdom in Louisville, a drop tower lifted riders high above the park skyline, suspended briefly, then released downward. During one descent, a cable snapped. A teenage girl's feet were severed in the malfunction. The ride had passed inspection. It had operated earlier that day. Everything appeared secure. Routine does not eliminate risk. It conceals it. Galaxyland, the runaway train. Inside the West Edmonton Mall in Canada sat Galaxyland, an indoor amusement park, echoing steel beneath a glass ceiling. Its signature ride was the Mindbender, a triple-loop roller coaster. As the train entered a high-speed curve, a car derailed. It struck a concrete pillar. 3 teenagers were killed. Investigators later found missing and improperly secured bolts in the wheel assembly. Bolts. Small pieces of hardware. The difference between thrill and catastrophe, measured in inches of metal. Cedar Point, the falling object. At Cedar Point in Ohio, one of the world's most famous coaster parks, a ride called Raptor thundered overhead. Guests watched from below. A metal object fell from the ride. It struck a bystander in a nearby area. She later died from her injuries. The ride had not derailed. It had not collided. It had simply shed a component. You don't have to be riding to be vulnerable. Sometimes the danger is above you. Waterworld, California, the slide that kept running. At Waterworld, California, a near-vertical enclosed slide operated as it had many times before. A 16-year-old boy stood slightly inside the tube. He struck a structural beam. The injuries were fatal. For a short time afterward, the slide continued operating. Water flowing, riders descending, music playing. Machinery does not recognize tragedy. It continues until someone stops it. 10 parks, 10 separate days, different decades, different causes, but the same foundation. Trust. Trust in inspections, trust in maintenance, trust in unseen safeguards. And most days, that trust holds. But on rare days, a flame catches, a bolt loosens, a cable snaps, A sensor fails. A piece of metal falls. And the system, just once, doesn't protect the people inside it or beneath it. No one standing in line believes they are about to become the exception, but someone always is. And that's what lingers.